Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Big time win. The New York Knicks hold on to claim their second win of Summer League. Back-to-back wins now. And the Knicks are 2 wins, 2 losses for Summer League. We got one more game tomorrow and we'll see what happens. I don't know if the Knicks can advance, but we'll talk about it tonight. Guys, welcome in chat. Welcome in replay squad. As Tyler took over this ball game late, back-to-back buckets to help the Knicks get ahead and hold off barnstorming Detroit Pistons in this one, and they almost pulled it out, right? But Tyler finished with a great game, dishing and swishing, and needed to score late, and he did. Put the team on his back for the second consecutive game. Let's go through it. Guys, welcome in everyone who's joining us. Hope you had a blessed day. The New York Knicks are 2-2 now in Summer League after Game 4. And we're going to go through and give out our grades. As I'll just update the graphic below as the New York Knicks win 91-90. 91-90. 2 critical stops late to hold on to the lead, though almost blew it away with the inbound play, 5-second count. You know, you hate to see that. They needed to do better on that one, but they caught a break, right? But it was Tyler Kolek, once again, 7 assists, right? 8 points. And we had a big game from Skap and 17 points, 10 rebounds, double-double as well. Pome Dadiet, the Knicks' 25th overall draft pick, had his best game of Summer League, finished 4 of 8 from the field, and 12 points as well with 5 rebounds. So Dadiet was cutting, and we saw his off-ball movement tonight, but it was Tyler Kolek finishing it for the New York Knicks. Here he had a pull-up midi bucket, showing his scoring chops as well. As he said, guys, when he gets downhill, off his left, right, he's tough to stop. Really tough to stop. And what a hard screen set by Skap and absolutely leveled the guy on that one. Nimara's in the building. What's up? Janol, Paula, hello. Welcome in. Knicks pick up the big win, 91-90, right? Tyler Kolek took over late and scored the last 2 buckets. But yeah, Skap and was very promising once again, who's having himself a heck of a Summer League on that one. And this is another tough bucket from Kolek too. Shot over 60% at the rim in college, and we're really starting to see that translate. Walter J. Dub, welcome in, guys. Kolek, you know, again, stole the show for me. Best New York Knick. We'll give out his grade as well and what the future may hold for him in this upcoming season too. Hukporti and Skap and I thought were both very solid. Obviously, Skap and got a little bit more minutes. I think Hukporti was in foul trouble, but he still finished 4 of 7 as well. 11 points and 8 rebounds too. Got into a little bit of foul trouble. Did Ariel Hukporti in this one, the Knicks' 58th overall pick, but I thought he showed some signs defensively, especially when he switched out on the 3-point line and was able to clamp down Ron Holland on that one. But Dadiet, 4 of 8, you know, these are the pleasing things you want to take away. He's starting to look more comfortable as the games roll on to 12 points. A lot of them were off cuts. The ball was flowing today, guys. It was really flowing in terms of guys finding the cutters. The pick and roll was working well. We just ran into a wall late and the offense kind of stalled. But Dwayne Washington was hot early, 5 of 12. We won't talk about Dwayne too much tonight, but Rokas, 4 of 11. Missed all 4 of his 3-pointers. I thought Rokas was solid with 6 assists. Passing-wise, scoring-wise, wasn't as good as the other night too. Ice Kolek, so many nicknames. I like the nickname T13. And then now Tyler Takeover. Takeover Tyler. As Walter says, what a game. Yeah, it's always good to get it on a stop fam, a defensive stop to win the game. Tom Thibodeau will be pleased with that. But we scrape by. Credit to Detroit too. They've got some really good players. I like Bobby Klintman. I interviewed him during the NBL season. I thought he should have gone first round. I thought Bobby Klintman was definitely hitting those threes. Ron Holland, though, Sasser started to take over late as well. And, the New York Knicks had their hands full. So credit to this Summer League squad. The New York Knicks squad's getting better every day, led by the leader, Tyler Kolek, of this one. But, yeah, big overall game from Skap and Sev, too. He's 26, right? Could he fit on the two-way still if he's eligible? Is he a shot to make it to training camp, right? He's been with Westchester. The Knicks know him really well. He showcased his little soft touch. I thought he rebounded well tonight, and he did some things. He really showed some flashes. He's an older guy, so that's important to note as well, guys. We'll continue to roll through the highlights as well. Shout you guys out. That's what we do. Smash that like button. Knicks, the streets are buzzing. Now there's some highlights from Hukporti here. As I said, playing perimeter defense on Ron Holland, forced the stop too. I like how he got low, bent his knees and definitely pushed Ron Holland baseline as well, and then sealed off the baseline nicely in that one. So I thought that was one of Ariel's best plays too, as well as him rolling to the cup. That was a nice bounce pass to find Hukporti finishing down the lane. Chris says, I'm impressed by Dimitro, Skap and Sev. Yeah, all of us are, fam. I think, he's definitely looking like a veteran out there. The Knicks do need some veteran help. So we'll talk about that more tonight. What's up, Jay? And what's up, Buzzer? You know what it is. It's time for the Tyler takeover too. Now, Kolek's court vision, fam, the best highlight of the night. Put him in the spin cycle with that one. What a dish, right? Got bumped, went back around all the way down Broadway, spun and found the three-point shooter there in the corner. What an assist from this man too. Another night, another 7 assists, 8.0 in the plus-minus, but Tyler Kolek came up big for the New York Knicks late, scoring and distributing as well. Janol, what's up? I'd invest more in Hukporti and Skap than I would Jericho. I think the Knicks might be thinking the same, fam. I'm certainly agreeing with you. Great shout. Look, Jericho's on, he's got the experience. I think Tibbs will probably lean on that throughout the season. That's not what I'm saying, but I agree with you from the point where, what I'm hearing is, Sims is on the final year of his deal. They've brought Hukporti on the two-way. So that's a situation where I think long term, and maybe Skap and Sev could be a guy that helps us out this season as well. But once Jericho's contract might come to an end, they might either trade him or, look, if he looks great, I'm sure they'll re-sign him as well. But they're making plans for the future with Ariel Hukporti. And should we go center by committee, do a platoon, so to speak? Mitchie's the starter. Assuming we bring back Precious, you got Skap and Sev, Hukporti, Sims. There's plenty of depth there to do the center by committee. But I'm sure Leon Rose is definitely going to, still try to bring in some experienced heads. Chris agrees as well. I think these guys look solid in Summer League. The best thing is, guys, there's going to be training camp as well. So hopefully these guys come in. I'm pretty sure Skap and Sev will get an Exhibit 10 deal at least, so they can give him a little bit of money. They can also see what he looks like up against these other guys. But look, Hukporti's getting better every game as well. Right? He was our rook, drafted with the 58th pick. And he showed some nice touches too, ran the floor well. Just short of a double-double, but he had a little bit more folly in this game in terms of fouling. I thought at least maybe one or two of them were bogus with Hukporti It's a physical game. I thought they were a little ticky-tack, but Hukporti finished with, I think, 5 fouls. As I pull up the box score, yes, 5 fouls. The 11 points, 8 rebounds as well. Is a beast on the glass, really. Ariel is a huge, huge man. And so is Skap and Sev, too. Shout out to the both of them. 10 rebounds for Skap. 5 offensive, too. So, Tibbs is probably watching in his office right now and say, Leon, let's bring that Skap in for a Exhibit 10. 17 points as well. Got a little bit of a scoring touch that he showed too. But, I mean, first grade of the night, right? And the game ball will go to Tyler Takeover, right? Despite going 3 of 9 offensively, he showed up late. Unfortunately, he missed his threes tonight, but he's shown that, he can knock those down. Last game, that's something he's got to work on moving forward. But the 7 assists, the 8 points, I mean, that's our point guard, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking about a guy who can do a bit of everything, right? Does that remind you of Charlie Ward? Does that remind you a little bit of Chris Childs? Who does he remind you of more, in terms of Knicks perspective, right? Not in terms of just game, but in terms of just output, right? Scoring and distributing, can do a bit of everything. He plays tough. That's the thing. I think with Tyler, size is always going to be the knock, but that's been the knock on Jalen Brunson. He's found a way to, to elevate, overcome that. He's found ways to, to be super effective, with Kolek. I mean, who wouldn't want to play with this guy? He finds you, he can get you hot as well, and he can get his when you need as well. When the game is on the line, fam, he'll get you his. Here he is finding Dadiet too. I said Hukporti owes Tyler a drink or a dinner. I think Dadiet, after tonight, will owe his guys a drink, because Dadiet looked good cutting off ball. That could be his role early in the league, right? Dadiet, Pac Daddy looks a little shaky with the ball because, he's got to tighten the handle. And I think he's got to pick his spots when to be aggressive, right? He does, get caught in traffic a little bit. But here, right, off-ball movement, a la Josh Hart, a la Dante DiVincenzo. When Pac-Man, can get baseline, and it's been a trend this summer league as well. He'll get the easy buckets there, and of course he's almost 6'10" now, according to reports. He looks really big. He's at least 6'9", right? The finishing at the bucket is going to translate because he's got that length to. Jericho is going to be working on his game, and look, we need insurance right now. I don't think we'll be shipping Jericho out unless it's for another big man too. But great pass from Rokas Yokus on this one. Found Skap for the lob. Skap's got pretty good hands again. Soft touch. I like that one. Finished at the bucket too. So that was one of his 17 points too. Again, he just looks ready because he's 26, right? He's not a draft prospect. You would hope that he shows flashes, but credit to him as well. I think he's worth a training camp invite, like I said. And again, Rokas, tough bucket in this one, right behind the back with the lefty, gets baseline, reverse layup too. 2 solid games from Rokas in a row. Although last game he was much better, but tonight he flashed, the passing and some scoring as well. So we're going to give out Rokas's grade too. We'll talk about Skap and Sev next. We'll give out his grade. But for Tyler, the creator, I'm going to give Tyler Kolek I'll give him an A- for the night. Hukporti, see, he's the 9'3" standing reach. Throw it up there to the big fella. Like, he's got good hands, from what I've seen too, and he doesn't, get flustered down low. He's not afraid to bring it back down, set his feet and go back up strong. That's what you want to see from a big man. So he's got pretty solid fundamentals from what I've seen. I think he'll be solid in Westchester throughout the year and maybe spot minutes if the Knicks need. But of course, he's a big body. He rebounds. I think once he finds his way in the offense, we'll see what happens with the center situation. But I will feel confident, letting him compete for the third string center position and see if he progresses throughout the season. Maybe after the trade deadline, maybe he looks better than anticipated with that one, but keeps his feet set with that one. But of course, for those that missed it, right, last game, Tyler Kolek and won butter with that one and finished with the game ball. Last game, finished them off. Tonight, the same thing, guys. Pull up midi, just knows what to do, gets to his spot. I tell you what, I know he doesn't like the TJ McConnell comparisons, but that is TJ McConnell 101, like we saw against us in the playoffs, right? Probe, get around the screen, lull them to sleep, lull the big to sleep, and then just pull up for the little midi in the paint too. That is money. If he's got that in his bag already, then he's ready for minutes, guys. Shokan says, does Rokas remind you a bit of Beno Udrih or no? He kind of does. Yeah, I could see it. That's a good shout. I think that's more realistic than Goran Dragic, like people have been saying. I think Beno Udrih is, pretty similar. Bigger guard, combo guard, can play make some, but can score as well. Also, we shouldn't forget that Rokas is 23. Too. I know a lot of people want to give up on him or ship him out. I think he's shown enough flashes to see that he could be of value to us in the future or in a trade. It might not be coming to us, but it might be in the future. So welcome in anyone that's just joining us. Please smash that like button. The Knicks streets are buzzing. We play again tomorrow, and we play the Atlanta Hawks. We'll get a good look at first overall pick, Rus Yokus, if he plays. If the Knicks win tomorrow, we'll be 3-2. Might we qualify for the playoffs? But I'm not sure yet. I'll refresh to find out. But either way, we got one more Summer League game. I'll give you my grade overall later in tonight's show about the Summer League overall so far. But we're giving out the grades for tonight. Tyler will get an A-, right? He set the tone early. The ball was moving beautifully, right? Dwayne Washington was still chucking, but I thought we were getting better looks tonight as well. But he went 3 of 9, missed his threes, but he's got to work on that. But 7 assists, is what we come to expect now. He could have had a lot more as well. 8 points as well. Solid floor general game, leading the way for the New York Knicks. What do you give for Tyler Kolek? For me, A-. So we saw that little pull-up midi. This one is an even tougher bucket, right? Once again, looks like he was sort of caught baseline. However, was able to get the knock, bump him, and then readjust with the left as well. So a lot of these things are going to translate in the NBA. So for me, it seems like he can take contact and still score. Pick and roll maestro already. Finding guys when they cut as well. Good court vision, and has shown that he can deliver late in ball games as well. Right. I know he's going to be a rookie in this season, but he talked about in the last interview that, I've started 116 college games or something like that. So he's well aware that a lot of people say, he's more ready, but he's also letting the world know that, hey, I'm going to be a rookie, but I'm ready. Throw me out there. I can help deliver late and help get you the win too. So a little bit of TJ McConnell with that one. So yeah, we've heard Tyler the Creator, Tyler Takeover. I like T13, TK. What's up, Bob, Marvin? How you guys doing? Agree with Marvin with this one. Pac-Man was moving really well without the ball, so looks like he's starting to get more confidence, but also playing with with a guy like Tyler will help you with that too. I thought Ariel Hukporti was solid in this game, right? Skap had the better game, so I'll give Skap his grade coming up next, and then we'll give Hukporti his grade. But Hukporti switched out on the perimeter. We didn't see this in any of the first 3 games. This is something that we could look at maybe in the future and look like that he can hold his own, right? Ron Holland is a very athletic guy. Let's not make no mistakes about it. Ron Holland is athletic. So that's positive signs from Hukporti. Really widens his stance, gets down low, and uses his strength also to force him baseline too. So, I mean, look, Ron Holland sized him up, and it was no bueno with that one. So that was a big tick from Hukporti. But as I go through, I'll give Skap his grade, and then we'll move on to the next guy. Like Marvin said, yeah, this was a good cut from Dadiet with the finish from Tyler as well. Head up, found the guy to. So yeah, Skap he's a big man, and like I talked about before, I think that those two could be, a Westchester tandem. Bring Skap on the other two-way if we need, or give him a camp invite at least, and let's bring in as much big man depth as possible, right? Let him go to battle against Jericho in the pre-season and training camp coming up, which is almost about 2 months away. We're getting closer to the start of pre-season, but I think the experience of Skap has shown, and this summer league. But I also think Ariel Hukporti is solid for the 58th pick, and someone who is worthy of of being drafted. And with that said, I'll give Skap. He was 6 of 10, 10 rebounds, 17 points, plus 6 as well. Only 1 turnover, and only 2 fouls. So I'll give Skap a minus as well for his performance. Right, really solid. With that said, stayed out of foul trouble. 5 offensive rebounds, excellent. Got to the free throw line as well. 5 of 6 from the stripe. So yeah, Demetrio. He's 26. The Knicks know what he's all about. He's been with Westchester. He's been in our program for over a year now. He even got regular season minutes. I think it was 1 or 2 years back when, the Knicks were in a center conundrum. I think so. Those of you that remember, Skap has played for the Knicks big squad as well when he came up. He's been on a two-way before, and we'll see what happens. But good signs from me. And let's see, we need some veteran big men, right? Could he be the best veteran big man available? Right, I know a lot of people are talking about Omer Yurtseven. There's JaVale McGee. There's a lot of different names out there that we'll talk about tonight too. What's up, David? And the chat's buzzing right now. Smash that like button, guys. What were your standouts for the game? I'm going to give an A- to Skap and an A- to Tyler Takeover for that one. Hukporti's up next. Like I said, there was good and there was bad. I think, 5 fouls. A couple of them were a little ticky-tack, but, he's finding his way. 18 minutes. The positives first, he's really high motor. You could see he ran the floor well and got a deflection after missing a hook shot. You love to see that fight. After a miss on the offensive end, he ran the floor really well, did Hukporti. So that's what you want to see. His hands look really good as well in the entry pass. So we showcased his defense before on Ron Holland. Here his hands look pretty solid, catching it down low, sets his feet, goes back up strong as well. So almost a double-double again from Hukporti. Right, I'll give him a B- for the game. Last game he got a B+, B- tonight. All the signs that you can see where, maybe in a year's time he could be a rotation big for us with meaningful minutes. Obviously this season we're trying to win a championship. So, yeah, it's no knock on Ariel's potential, but down the line, I think he could take over that Sims spot if Sims is no longer here. Um, and if you get that out of the 58th pick, I think that's something that's solid. Um, yeah, and I really expect Tibbs and the big men. Othello Harrington, I think, is one of the big coaches to work with him, and he can definitely be something for the future with those guys. Tibbs helped Mitch come along a long way as well. Don't forget Isaiah Hartenstein was a backup when he first came to the New York Knicks, and with that said, there's been situations where Isaiah didn't look really good in his first season. He went through patches where he was up and he was down, and the coaching staff really worked with them as well. So, uh, so that's the first three guys. We'll talk about Pome Dadiet and Rokas Yokus up a little bit more now too. Welcome in anyone that's just joining us. Salute chat, buzzing right now, and replay squad. Smash that like button. David says Sims is a stiff. Um, this season is going to be a make or break year for Jericho Sims. No doubt about it. He's been with us 4 years. I think if you just look at a guy's NBA career for a guy who was drafted 58, I think Jericho's been a success from his perspective for a 58th pick. I mean, most players don't last in the NBA more than 4 or 5 years, and for the 58th pick, I think Jericho Sims is, we've got solid value out of that deal, out of a cheap backup. I think he's had good opportunities as well, but I do think if he doesn't get many opportunities this season, it'll probably require a fresh start. Where he might need to find a different situation, because I mean we don't have time right now to be as patient, I would say, for the big men positions on a real roster spot. Like two ways is different. They're expected to go back and forth with Westchester, but right now with Mitch and the past instances of him not being able to play 82, I think and us trying to compete for that championship right now, we need to be more ruthless with the big man situations, right? Just stack the depth and try to get more reliable bodies who can stay healthy as well. What's up, M. Gene? Salute. Glad you could join us. Georgie's in the building. Salute. Just got out of work. Hope you had a great day. I'll bring up the stats right now. So Tyler, takeover, got hit 2 buckets late to get the Knicks the win and hold on, 91-90. So Tyler got an A- for me. He was 8 and 7, 8.7 assists. Really solid floor game once again, just going from strength to strength, but showed us his mid-range. Dmitrio Skapantsev, outstanding game, double-double, 17 and 10. He gets an A- as well. Looks worthy of a training camp invite, in my opinion. And 6 of 10 from the field as well. Got to the free throw line 6 times. Also gave Ariel Hukporti a B-. He was efficient from the field, in a little bit of foul trouble, but he finished 11 and 7, 11 and 8 as well, and showcased his good hands down low, and showed that he can do some things in the pick and roll. Now, let's talk about the 25th overall pick, Pome Dadiet, right? Great work, son. Keep your head up. I know he's probably dealt with a lot of criticism, we know how passionate Knicks fans are. It's important to understand where Pome Dadiet is at right now, and that is a situation where he might have the highest upside out of every single Knicks rookie, right? I mean, you got to look at Tyler Kolek right now as someone who probably does have a higher NBA ceiling based on what we've seen, but in terms of just game, right? Pome Dadiet is a ball of clay right now. He could be anything. He could be a dynamic wing scorer. He could be more of a wing stopper. The world is his oyster too. But as I said before, I think early in his career, he's going to eat playing off ball, right? On ball looks like a mixed bag because the dribble's got to get tighter, and of course he's got to get more efficient shooting, right? Had a couple of open catch and shoots, which you would have loved to see go down. Unfortunately, they didn't drop, but he kept his head up, was efficient from the field, and one of his nice plays here, cutting to the bucket as well. Uh, so Pome was 4 of 8 from the field, got to the free throw line as well, 4 of 5, which you love to see. So it looks like the shot's solid. He's hitting it from the free throw line. He got 5 rebounds as well and finished with 12 points, -5. But no turnovers, which is a big tick. Shout out to him for improving. And then 2 fouls only. So my initial thoughts about Dadiet, all the rawness that you'd expect offensively, but looks really solid. It looks to project to be a really solid defender in the NBA when it's go time for him. And look, I'm going to be watching Westchester this year, no doubt about it. I think we could expect, stat lines of, like 15 and 8, 15 and 10, maybe some 20 and 10 nights from Dadiet, because I think he will eat in the G League. He's very athletic. He moves well off the ball too. So I'm going to give Pome Dadiet for his game tonight also a B-, solid. And as I said, guys, 0 of 3 from deep. Had a couple nice catches. Unfortunately, they didn't drop though. But he's just got to keep going. Just be active too. Paula says he needs to work on his 3, but right now he needs to slash to the bucket. He looks really good doing that. Yeah, amen with that. Bob says we have 2 bigs who are going to work their way into the rotation, but in time, let's wait after Summer League to see who and what we need. Yeah, it's obvious that, and we'll talk more about this coming up in the second part of tonight's show, but it's obvious to see that Leon Rose is holding the signing of Precious. He's keeping that on ice until all other options are exhausted. So he's probably looking at sign and trades, and he's looking to see if there's a bigger trade possibly available too. We know the Knicks have been linked to Clint Capella. Now, let me know your thoughts on that, guys. Would you be open to swing a bigger deal for a Clint Capella? We've been linked to Jalen Duren as well, and we've been linked to Walker Kessler, Nick Richards as well. So no links to Brook Lopez from what I've seen, but obviously those are some other big names, and Leon Rose is really trying to figure it out, right? There's a big hole at the big man spot at the minute, and I do think, obviously, we've got the Randall extension coming up in August. That is going to be a big factor, moving forward before the season begins. I expect Julius to get re-signed, but with Mitchie, I think he'll be here as well. He's incredible value. You just need more insurance. That's all, right? I'm completely content with Mitch as the starting center, but if you've got guys like Precious, Sims, Hukporti, Skap, and maybe some better veterans behind him, then I think we'll be fine. I think throughout the season, a lot of the backup minutes is a bit overrated. Most of the time the bench just runs up and down. Play a lot of benches around the league do play small as well. So B- for Pome Dadiet, the New York Knicks 25th overall pick. Just like Paula said, you want to see him, commit to the off-ball movement, and Kolek will find you as well, right? That just makes Kolek so much more valuable because he can get guys involved, he get guys going. Too, guys, we got an absolute steal with our second pick, the 34th overall pick as well. It's funny how Rokas Yokus was also the 34th pick too. Let's talk about Rokas now too. Has your perception changed of Rokas as Summer League has gone along? Now, very, very good game last time. Solid game tonight. Shows you flashes as well. looked awful in the first 2 games, right? If we're being honest. So it's been a really good game, a solid game, and 2 bad games. But Rokas overall has shown that, he looks like he could be an NBA player, right? It wasn't a busted pick from that perspective because, the kid's 23. So, he's got shades of a Beno Udry, like the chat said before. I think that was a good shout from Shokan. Who else does he remind you of? But thing is, he can be a bit of everything, right? He's not the distributor that Kolek is, but maybe he's a better scorer than Kolek. I'm willing to say he's a better shooter than Kolek right now. He can space the floor out too. The biggest thing that I've liked from Rokas these last 2 games, guys, is he's been more aggressive. He's like, look, if I do go back overseas for this season, I'm here for Summer League. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to be aggressive, and I'm going to force the issue as well. And look, in some of these plays, he did look a man among some boys, where, like in this play, he just said, I'm going to get to the rack with that one. And he showed a nice handle behind the back as well. And look, he's looked solid finishing at the rim as well. He's a really underrated big guard. From talking to people who are at Summer League and seen him in person, I think Rokas is 6'4". I think he clears 6'4"-ish. So he's kind of like Dante's height. Might be slightly shorter, but he's a bigger frame as well. So Chris says we can pass on Rokas, send him to the Nets. So you're not a fan. Not a fan. Look, I think there's a big possibility that Rokas will be in a trade because opportunities are scarce with the New York Knicks as this current situation looks. I think if there's plans to maybe make a bigger trade, right? I'm not saying anything is imminent, but I think it is naive to think that Deuce won't be a trade candidate in the future, right? It might happen, it might not, but it's certainly a piece that the Knicks will need to look at. The better Kolek looks, campaigns here, Rokas is under our draft rights. I think one or the other. I think Deuce either has a really long-term future and Rokas gets traded and Deuce plays alongside Kolek for the future. Or we just keep Rokas on ice and wait to see another year play out. Maybe more guard rotation minutes open up in the coming years as well. I think the reason for a draft and stash is because you ideally want the player to develop and come over and be good for you, in the future. So maybe the patience is still there from the Knicks after this Summer League stint. We'll see. But I think some other teams will be interested. So as we look at his stats and give out his grade, I'm going to go, Rokas was 4 of 11, missed all 4 of his threes, but finished with 6 assists and 9 points and was a +5 as well. So I think Rokas has shown me that he can defend at at an okay level. That was one of his weaknesses. So second game in a row where he's actually looked pretty solid defensively. Got to give him a shout out for the 3 steals, right? He led the team in steals, did Rokas. So showing his vet experience, finished 9 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. That's solid, despite being a little inefficient from 3. So I'll go with a C+ for Rokas in this one. Or I might go B-, despite the inefficiency. I'll upgrade it to a B- because of the 3 steals. The 6 assists is solid as well. Bear in mind, only 22 minutes. So 9 points, 9, 6, and 3 for Rokas. I think he could benefit from another year or so in Europe, but we also might trade the man. So we'll see. Buzzer Beater says everybody's been linked to the Knicks. Hell, I've been linked to the Knicks. Always, man. You got the streets buzzing. But yeah, it really is a lot of clicks, Knicks for clicks, but it's also Leon Rose doing his due diligence. The reason why we're linked is because we're actually, we're in discussions and we're doing our due diligence, talking to other GMs, seeing what can be had. I think Leon Rose in this front office is a souped up front office. We've got Gerson Rosas, who's been a president before. Now he's our GM. We've got Walt Perrin, assistant GM. We've got Wesley, Brock Aller, Frank Zanin, Leon Rose. A lot of output from these guys. Buzzer also says, I can't see another team paying Randall 300 milli. My plan for Randall is bring him back into the season, see how everything looks with this team, and try to go win a championship. I think, this squad is good enough. And if it doesn't work out after a year or so, if he runs into the season without signing an extension, I would still keep him, see what the season looks like, and then make a decision later. Nick Yak, the centers are shooting 29 of 40, 40 rebounds, 10 blocks in 4 40-minutes games. Those are good enough to be backup. Sims is in trouble. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in training camp, fam. I think a lot of these guys are good enough to get minutes. So, I really believe Hukporti, could be third string, and give you minutes in case of injuries, just like we've seen Sims do in the past. Skap and Sev, I think he could give you, situational minutes as well, right? So, but obviously the preferred backup needs to be Precious or someone more experienced, and you got Michi starting as well. Buzzer says, now that we've seen Rokas in Summer League, maybe the Rokas to Knicks talk can finally be put to rest. One way or the other, we've seen our, I think, probably final look at him, enough sample, I think, to make a decision with that. Tyler Kolek stole the show. His emergence does make Rokas way more expendable as well. And look, if we're trying to make a trade, I think Rokas will be a nice little sweetener for a future trade. And look, he's shown signs to me that he can be an NBA player, but right now we're just in a different position. Georgie, we've got one more game tomorrow, too, against the Atlanta Hawks as well. I think that's a 6:30 tip. So the fifth game is tomorrow, a back-to-back second night. We'll be playing the Hawks tomorrow at a 6:30 tip. We'll be live post-game right after. I'm not aware of any machinations of qualifying for the playoffs. I'll refresh as we're live to find out, to see if the Knicks have any more games, and if not, I'll put it in the comments section too. But I won't be surprised if we don't qualify. I think they'll probably try and shorten these playoffs. We are 2-2. If we do win tomorrow, we'll be 3-2. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to qualify for the postseason. But regardless, it's been a good hit out. I think we've seen enough. We've seen what we needed to see from these guys. In the case of Rokas, Hukporti, Dadiet, and Kolek. It's a shame that McCullough hasn't been able to do his thing, but we'll talk about him later. But here's Alan Hahn. Says, I've been obsessed with this player all summer league. He's legit. Would shock me if he's not a rotation player. High IQ, low turnovers, and intense compete level. Love his game. So Kolek, I think the outstanding traits for me have been his finishing at the rim, and obviously his floor vision. We've seen it live now, and it's been awesome. Nicken and Hicken, salute. Rokas, I like him. You're a fan? Let's go. Janol says, Tibbs is not going to let Deuce go. I think, he's one of Deuce's biggest fans. I think, look, Deuce is only going to go if it's just a big trade and we're bringing in something major too. Yep, you can have some bad games as well. So David wants us to move on from Randall. We know your thoughts on that situation. You're a big Cat fan. I think. But you are in the minority. I think most Knicks fans aren't aren't too excited about a cat move, you know. Um, Mets Nick says Randall can walk for nothing. That's going to be risky, but look, Leon Rose will know. There's sign and trades. There's other things. But my biggest reason for running it back this season is because we never got a chance to see what it looked like. Right? How can you give up on something when you don't have a chance to fully see what it can look like? Yes, Randall has had some ups and downs with the squad, but we know he can be a two-time or three-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA, and can absolutely be dynamic offensively. Now you've brought in OG Anunoby and you've brought in Mikal Bridges, two of the best wing defenders out there, who could also both guard fours. So if you're ever going to put together pieces around Randall that's going to make it work, it's right now. Those guys can defend. And Randall doesn't need to be that scorer that he had to be back in the Atlanta series. So many people make stuff of that Randall series back in 2020 when it was against Atlanta, when we only had Alec Burks and RJ Barrett and a 33-year-old Derrick Rose. Right? That was never going to be enough. You're right. Once they doubled Randall, there was no one else to really help us out. I mean, now pick your poison. Randall gets doubled. He'll find Brunson, right? A top 5 MVP. OG Anunoby in the corner. Mikal Bridges on the perimeter, catching and driving, slashing. And then, of course, Mitch the lob threat. Well, so, I mean, I don't see a roster around the NBA that could be built as perfect around Randall as we currently have, right? Maybe you want to bring in a stretch 5, but that's not going to happen with the lack of funding we have right now with the salary cap. So, my situation is bring it into the season, and let's go for 56, 55 wins, 60 wins. Right? You only need to beat the best to be the best. Right? We can match up against Boston really, really well. So I want to see it. Right? Contractual stuff, I'll let Leon and Brock Aller figure the rest out. I'm just focused on the basketball fit, and the New York Knicks have a team that can win the championship, in my opinion. It's not the most perfect 5. Obviously, like I said, 5 out looks would be ideal. But let's see. David says Kolek, the new McConnell of the Pacers. We saw flashes of that with the little midi. Janol says we need a center that can bang with Embiid, defend Kristaps, Wemby, and the rest. We need a center no less than 7 feet. Yeah, we need a big man, definitely. Precious would be nice insurance, but that's going to be tricky. I think Leon's working the phones. He's cooking up something in the lab too. Look, the contract situation is the biggest thing. What's up, Seth? Is Tyler's defense a concern? He looks like a turnstile at times against Summer League players. I think that's his biggest weakness, no doubt about it. That could project whether that could be the factor that projects whether he's a starting point guard for a long time or a long time backup. A lot of players are below par defensively, but they still have a long NBA career. So, Kolek can get abused at times. Tonight he was a 0, neutral, plus minus, so 30 minutes. And definitely, his size will still be something that he has to overcome. But if he can knock down the shot, TJ McConnell has also overcome that, so it can be done. Robin, what's up? Salute. Glad you could join us. D Cool's in the building. The chat's buzzing right now. Johnny, what's up? Smash that like button, guys. The Knicks are 2-2 from Summer League, right? I've given my grades for Rokas, Dadiet, Hukporti, Skap and Sev, and Tyler. Takeover. And now, my time to give overall thoughts of Summer League. We've got one more game tomorrow, which is gravy. I'm looking forward to it. Let's hope that Dice does something different, Sit Dwayne Washington. Let Pacome Dadiet shoot 20 shots tomorrow. Right, I'll be okay with that. Let Hukporti, Tyler Kolek do pick and roll all game with Rokas before he goes back overseas, right? Let tomorrow be a showcase game, right? And I look forward to chopping it up afterwards. But we've seen enough of Dwayne Washington. I want to see more of Skap and Sev, Hukporti, right? Throw them the lob, see what they can do down low. If we win or we lose, it don't matter, right? Let Dadiet shoot 20 shots, see what, get his confidence up. But so far, I've seen everything I need to see, right? Kolek looks like he's going to compete for, for backup minutes, right? It might be next to Deuce McBride. Campaign might be situational. He's only on a 1-year deal, right? A lot of people talk about Campaign, more experienced. He's a veteran. He's got sample. He's got skills. But what I look at is the contract. The New York Knicks have a 4-year investment in Tyler Kolek. Campaign's on a 1-year veteran minimum deal, right? He might be gone by the deadline. He might be gone once the season is over. So do you really want to invest in Campaign getting minutes over your guy who you have on a 4-year deal? So for me, it's a no-brainer. Tyler Kolek should be ahead of Campaign in your rotation, right? Campaign is nothing but a cup of coffee with this team. He is, his future is uncertain with the club, and like I said, he might be a trade candidate for insurance at the deadline. So Tyler Kolek should, at worst, be the third string behind Deuce McBride. Maybe play next to Deuce as well. Forget about Westchester. Forget about G League. I don't think that's going to be on the cards for Kolek. I think he needs to be with the big club, and he needs to be there, every single day with Jalen Brunson in practice, every single day with Deuce McBride and the coaching staff, doing their thing too. So huge tick. We've seen what we needed to see from Tyler Kolek too. He's a first round draft pick type talent. You've seen enough positives where you say, okay, one day he could be a starter in the NBA. And I've also seen enough weaknesses where, he might just be, a long-time career backup. But either way, he's an NBA player. And I think that's a big win for the New York Knicks. He's shown that he can score, and he's shown that he can get a lot of other guys involved as well. As I'll talk about Skap and Sev as well in my summary now. Salute, guys. Nice feed to find Dadiet on that one. But yeah, to summarize with Kolek, he's shown me a bit of everything. The passing is real, maybe even better than people advertised, right? That's saying something. He also showed us that he's good around the rim. Got a quick first step, can get downhill, and can get you buckets when you need as well. That's awesome, because that's telling me that when he's running our offense off the bench, we're not going to be devoid of scoring, right? Yeah, everyone loves a pass-first point guard, but, at times situationally, you need to put the ball in the bucket. The offense bogs down. Let's say all the other guys are getting covered and the shot clock's going down. What can you do? And we saw that with TJ McConnell, who killed us in the postseason. Big tick from Kolek. He can score when needed as well. I think that's the sign of a good point guard. Look for your guys, but when you need to score, you can score. So that's an awesome part. And like you guys said with his defense, could be really good, could be bad. I need to see more, but I think he's not going to be a plus defender, but I think he could be serviceable. And I think he, once he gets stronger as well, gets used to the speed of the game, I think he's going to be solid on that end as well. Right? Don't forget the college game and the pros. The first thing all pros say is that once you play your first game, you notice the speed, the intensity is just on another level, right? So don't forget he's got to get adjusted to that, right? The college game a lot slower, the pro game is just so quick, and you do got to make reads, immediately too. So pick and rolling, I think the bigs have been a big winner playing with Kolek. I think Dadiet has been a winner playing with Kolek as well. Rokas has also looked solid in his minutes, along with Kolek. Nicken says Kolek and Edie would have been crazy. We've got our own version of that, man. Think of Kolek and Mitch. Think of Kolek and Jumpman Jericho. Connection. And Kolek and Hukporti. Let's get it. You think Kolek could be a future Knicks starter? That's lofty. That's a lofty goal. Johnny says Campaign's a solid player. He'll always bring the pain for the other team. Yeah, that's fact. Capo, what's up? Kolek is good. Deuce is still putting him in jail. Yeah, Deuce is the first guard off the bench in terms of the point guard spot. But the thing is that those guys are interchangeable, which is good as well. They can play next to each other, which makes the move even better. Right, Deuce can guard twos, which that'll allow Kolek to actually be the primary playmaker alongside Deuce as well. Maybe Josh Hart gets pushed to the backup 4, Devo moves to the backup 3, and then Precious moves to the backup 5. I've seen a lot of people put that rotation out there. I won't be surprised. Tibbs might go a little small with the bench lineup, I think. So, look, the starting unit is the starting unit. You guys see, it's not going to change, unless there's a bigger trade. But the backup unit, I could see Kolek as a primary backup, Deuce McBride as the 2, DiVincenzo at the 3, Hart at the 4, and then Precious or another big at the 5 as well. We'll see. Don't forget, there's training camp, there's pre-season. A lot of things can change, but these are our takeaways, and I think so far Kolek has looked money in the summer league as well. And the New York Knicks got a real rotation player in the second round, so that's a huge win. Now, next up, we'll quickly give our thoughts on Skap and Sev and what his future might mean. And look, he's done his name a big service of the summer league, as he's showcased his passing, he's showcased some scoring touch around the basket as well. I thought his defense has been a little shaky. He's not fleet on foot, but he can play solid drop coverage, and he can rebound pretty solid. Hukporti is a better rebounder, I feel, but Skapensev has got a better touch and a better jump shot, as well. But Skapensev's 26, so I think he might be disqualified from being on a two-way just because of his experience in the league, his age, and he's already been on a two-way before. If he is available to be one more year on a two-way, I would heavily consider it, pending the health of McCullough. But outside of that, I would definitely bring Skapensev in for a training camp. You can bring 20 players into your training camp. So, all the guys we have on currently signed, and we can also bring in more bodies to camp. So there's no reason not to bring him in, and let him go up against Hukporti, Sims, and Precious in practice as well. And even give him some preseason minutes before you make a final cut. But yeah, there's a lot of other free agent guys working out for teams. As I said last show, veteran Thon Maker is working out for some teams as well. So I know the Knicks probably would have checked in on that in terms of scouts, checked in on that workout. There's been a few free agent workouts in Vegas. So I think the Knicks are aiming higher. They're obviously looking to make a bigger upgrade at the backup center. Talking to some teams, talking to Precious and his agent. There is still mutual interest for a return. I think, however, we are, exploring other options as well. So everything you'd expect, the Knicks are leaving no stone unturned. And yeah, we would all love us to get more insurance at the big man spot. Let's get Precious back, and let's get another veteran to, I want us to win the NBA Finals this season, right? I mean, the time is now, right? Guys have put their money where their mouth is in terms of Brunson, signing his new deal. Mikal, right? OG's now fully signed for a major deal. Deuce McBride's going to come up, going to be extension eligible in another season. So, we don't have years to waste, right? This year we should be aiming for the championship, right? So talking about Skap and 7, that's nice, for what they've seen, but we definitely can aim higher. But I would bring him in to training camp and see what else is up, right? So next up, Ariel Hukporti. So far over Summer League, I've been encouraged. I think, his rebounding looks legit. Another night, 8 rebounds. He had 10 rebounds last game. So that's 18 rebounds in 2 games. So, Tibbs is looking at that. I think expectations on Hukporti won't be very high in the beginning. They knew from the jump that he's a two-way guy. They drafted him late. I think they're going to be patient with him, and he might be a big that develops throughout the season, and maybe he's called upon if if needed with the depth shrinking. But I've liked his rebounding. We saw a little bit of his defensive potential tonight, guarding Ron Holland on the perimeter. As I pull that up now, and showing his energy and his motor as well, running the floor. So here he is, sealing off Ron Holland baseline to force him out of bounds and get the stop. Well, so yeah, showing his experience. We know Jericho can do this as well. He's shown flashes, guarding out on the perimeter. But I think Hukporti will be, as good as him from the jump. I think rebounding, drop coverage, shows a little touch around the basket, but that's something he clearly needs to work on as well. Won't do much else. He's not an offensive-minded guy, but he will run end to end super hard. And so far, I've been encouraged by his motor. So I think Hukporti, he gets a pass for Summer League so far, and we've got one more game, obviously, to play out. Now, next up, let's talk about Pome Dadiet. But just lastly on Hukporti, I think his hands have been quite solid too. One thing I haven't noticed at all is him fumble any of the balls. So a couple of the passes were really high. Outlet, he caught it, and he's got good hands as well. So he's not like a no-hands Nerlens Noel. He's got good hands around the basket, so that's a positive as well. But next up, we'll talk about the next draft pick, Pome Dadiet. Now, for me overall, he's been obviously the most underwhelming of any of the prospects right now. But that is to be expected in a way, where I didn't expect Pome Dadiet to look like one of the best rookies. Would I have liked to see a little bit more? Yes. I would have liked to see him, be a little more efficient creating a shot. It'll be a more efficient catching and shooting. Once again, 0 of 3. But clearly he's young. There's probably so much going through his mind, processing the game, going quicker, everything, finding his spots in a discombobulated offense. I think he'll look better once preseason rolls around, but we know what's up for him this season. It's to continue to play Westchester, develop for the future. I talked about our cap situation and, these wings and trying to win now. I think once a lot of these guys' contracts come to an end, and then Pome Dadiet is, 22, 23, hopefully the plan is for him to be ready to step in and be the, closer to the finished product by then. So, we got patience with him, but I have been a little underwhelmed so far, but, it's to be expected with Dadiet. Providing some positives is obviously, his ability to pass and receive passes, and his defense has been solid too. So hopefully he's learnt from this summer league where he can get his points. 2 cuts baseline, a nice play here as well off the pin down. Well, that was a slip. He slipped a screen there. And so that was solid too. His length is definitely something that, has me optimistic for the future because he brings 6'9" size from the jump, and it looks like he might be 6'10" if he continues to grow a little bit too. So keep up the cutting, keep up the energy, keep up the defense, and we'll see you in Westchester, fam, as well. But obviously he might have the highest upside out of everyone if the shot can become something too. So that's him. And then Rokas, as we've talked about, if this is the last look we get of Rokas, it's been a mixed bag. But I think last game showed, and tonight there was some flashes. Here, dishing. This is where he came off the pick and found Skap with the lob. So he can keep his head up, showed his experience, and he might look great tomorrow. So I think he only flew from overseas a week ago. It's a very unorganized setting. I think Rokas is a he's a pro player, whether it's overseas or end of the bench in the NBA. We'll see where he ends up, but he's a scoring guard that can make some as well. I think he'll project to be an off-ball guard, mostly in the NBA. His handles and he can be a little shaky with the ball when he is pressed, but the mid-range shot looks pretty solid. Finishing at the rim looks pretty solid as well. So with Rokas, nothing's really changed my opinion from what I already thought about him, and that I think that he might just be in a trade, or he might go back overseas, refine his game a little, and then maybe come later down the future. But I do think more than likely he'll be in a trade. But at least he's bounced back and had 2 better games. Neymar says we should definitely be aiming for the championship. Yep, where we are right now is in a perfect spot, ready to compete. Sadu, what's up? Welcome in. David says we need to move on from Sims. I think that might be on the cards. He's got 1 more year remaining. We'll see. Skap here. Hukporti. See, there's only so much money and development you can invest in bigs as well as guards, and that could be one of the reasons why Rokas ends up getting moved. I think we'll see. We'll check in on that as the season progresses. But I want to get your thoughts, guys. Any thoughts on Rokas? I think he was the kind of surprise that, the guy who people hadn't been as familiar with. No college, no G League to look for. I think we've seen some flashes, but yeah, he's a fringe NBA player right now, 23 years old. Defensively, I think has been a bright spot. I think he's shown that he can hold his own defensively. 3 steals tonight. Definitely focused to be more aggressive in the pick and roll. Could another team look at him and say, yeah, we'll bring him over on a 2-way. Let's do a trade, New York Knicks, Look, there's worse players on 2-ways in the league than Rokas. So I think, whether it's this season or next, I think he'll definitely find his way to the NBA on the end of a bench somewhere. I just think with the New York Knicks, there's just not enough room right now. Yeah, sure, if we never sign campaign, you would be like, okay, there's 1 more spot for Rokas to come in. But once we signed campaign, I think that was it. That was it, fam. So that's Rokas. We talked about Hukporti, Dadiet, and Kolek, and Skap, right? Now, last but not least, we'll talk a little bit about Kevin McCullough, because tied to Precious Achua, that hasn't been done yet either. Kevin McCullough, right? I think from what I saw in college, and this is hard to project, but Kevin McCullough, looks to be more NBA ready in terms of his game. He defends at a high level. He brings 6'7" size, and he can also play make some as well. Similarities to Josh Hart. So I think McCullough should be the favourite to get a two-way spot. Now, one element that may decide that is his health. He's rehabbing in Westchester right now. He had a scope surgery after the season, had no pre-draft combine workouts, didn't play in the NCAA tournament, and got shut down middle of the season. So clearly there's some medicals that don't check out from him. Wishing him a clean bill of health. I think hopefully he could help us a little, get signed on a two-way. But if not, he might be a stash. I think we will retain his rights. He might just need to redshirt. If he redshirts, then the two-way will be there for somebody else to come in, whether that is Rokas or somebody else. We'll see. Let's keep things open on that end, and we'll see. We'll find out soon, I think. Steven says trade him, trade Rokas. Kolek is pretty good. Need to work on defense, so to play with Tibbs. Yeah, I think playing off the bench, you could kind of hide his deficiencies a little more. I think alongside Hart, DiVincenzo getting up and down. But yeah, Kolek will be like no more than a 13-minute a night, guy from the jump. I mean, we know how much Brunson is going to play. Brunson's easily going to play 34, 36 minutes, 34 to 36 minutes. That might be being generous. So there's not a lot of minutes to go around for him. But I think Westchester, he might play some as well. But I think he'll be on the end of the Knicks bench, learning from these guys in practice too. Jabroni says Brooklyn can use Rokas. I think there are some teams that could use him, on the two-way. Sadu says next year Rokas. And McCullough, you want to see him come in? Yeah, I think Tibbs loves McCullough, man. He loves him, and I could see why. In the season, college season, he looked like a Tibbs player. Gets gritty, rebounds really well, defends, can guard fours as well. So, man, I just hope his medicals are good. Let's hope, because it's been a minute, and it's been the injuries have been dragging out. Didn't finish the season, had a scope, not able to play summer league. Slipped to the 56th pick. I mean, I'm not holding my breath for Kevin McCullough right now. It might just be what it is. We'll see. But two-way or not, we are stacked at the wing spot. Dadiet ended up getting the real roster spot too, but he'll play Westchester too. But we do have that one more two-way still left. If McCullough is a red shirt and doesn't get signed for another season, would you give that final two-way spot to Rokas or Skap and Sev? Let us know. Nicken says Rokas to Dallas for Lively. That's wishful thinking, man. That is wishful thinking. But yeah, Dallas is definitely not doing that. But I would do that in a heartbeat. Yes, and a guy, I knew I was missing out on someone, man. Appreciate you for reminding me about Jacob Toppin. So I was high on Toppin's first two games. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Doesn't look to be anything serious. However, I think Toppin, is on the two-way as of now. Apparently, he's been offered a qualifying offer that has yet to be established. So we'll see if Toppin takes it. But I think he's been solid. He can be a piece, a depth piece. The Knicks need a little bit of size who might be able to play the backup four a little. We do have Bates-Diop as well. So I do think that, we will see Jake Toppin back with the squad on a two-way spot, and he'll get minutes with Westchester still. But the writing might be on the wall after this season, because Toppin, as well as everyone, you can't be on a two-way for more than 2 years, right? You have to be on a real roster spot after the second year. So this is the final year for Toppin, but I've been impressed from what I've seen in Summer League. I think he's looked like a better defender. Looks like he can create a little shot, uh, cutting to the rim. Couple of the games he shot the ball pretty solid as well. So I think Toppin could be more of an experienced, situational guy. If we suffer, some bad injury luck, I think. But outside of that, I think Toppin will be warming the bench with McCullough. Um, Old head, salute. I like Kolek, but he's G League bound. He won't play over Deuce nor campaign. He definitely won't play. He definitely won't take minutes over Deuce. I think I could see a way throughout the season where he does get prioritized more than campaign, just because of their contract. Kolek is on a 4-year deal, campaign's on a 1-year deal. So, but I think, like you guys have made great points about his defense. Everyone wants to talk about Kolek's passing. But he's definitely got to be better, defensively to get real minutes. So here we have Hukporti, solid hands. I think he's shown me that he's, a centre worth developing on the two-way, and we'll see what plays out with him. But yeah, Kolek showed that he can score. I think that was something that we needed to see a little bit more of. The passing was real coming in. But yeah, defensively he's had some struggles, but I think that ain't going to stop him from being successful, right? If we look at Jalen Brunson as an example, and I know they're in completely different stratospheres right now, but once upon a time, Jalen Brunson was looked at as a really bad defender and a liability on the floor, and a guy who you could take advantage of. And on some nights, he does struggle defensively as well, and still able to have a maximum impact. So there is still a chance that Tyler Kolek could be a starter in the league, but if not, I think he'll be a long-time backup. Like your TJ McConnell, he's been able to stick on so many teams through work ethic, sheer grit, working on his skills as well, but just being more, physical and just trying to do as much as he possibly can. So, look, if TJ McConnell can do it, I've got no doubt Tyler Kolek can succeed in the NBA, but he's got to continue to put in the work. He is 23 as well, and he's clutch too. You can't really just, say that about anyone. Like Sidhu says, he's clutch, Kolek. D Cool says, love how fans think they know what Tibbs like and don't like. I think a lot of people make assumptions, I think, but Tibbs does talk about some of the things that he does like, so there is a good sample. DN says Toppin isn't an older player. Tibbs ain't making judgments on players based on their skill level. In quotation marks, so he's an older prospect. He's not an older NBA veteran. He's an older prospect in terms of. Let me just confirm his age, because I know he's a guy he's 24, so he's an older prospect, but not an old player in terms of a veteran. Johnny says Tyler Action Kolek will be a Nick fan fave. Yep. I think he already is. I think really solid pickup. Steven says McCullough is more NBA ready. I hope he's healthy. I do too, man. I really hope, as the Knicks have checked in on Clint Capella, although I don't think that is likely to happen. But the major letdown of Summer League is not getting a look at Kevin McCullough, because I think he was ready from the jump, right? I think he could play NBA minutes and defend if he's healthy. Defend for 8 minutes. Get some scrap minutes from the end of the bench, kind of thing. But unfortunately, man, the health just hasn't checked out yet, and that is the reason why he's slipped. I believe Kevin McCullough would have got drafted a lot higher had he able to finish the NCAA season, play the tournament, combine, and work out for teams. But he wasn't able to do any of that. So the Knicks got a potential steal if Kevin McCullough, is healthy enough at some point for us to throw him out there. But obviously we've got Bates-Diop, which is good insurance. I think he's an okay 9th, 10th, 11th man on any team. So that was a good sneaky pickup. Obviously Campaign now, we can be patient with Kolek, right? Maybe Campaign does get minutes early in the season. I think there's a world where Kolek will win minutes as the season goes along, right? You guys let me know in the chat comment section. Do you see Kolek winning minutes at some point throughout the season? Maybe not at the jump. But I tend to think that the Knicks will prioritize contracts. Campaign is here to be a situational, in my opinion, because he's on a 1-year deal. Kolek is part of the Knicks' future. But having said that, I won't be surprised if Payne has minutes early over Kolek to start the season out. But if Kolek has an amazing preseason and training camp, then we know what'll happen after that. So 3-point shooting was something that I want to see Kolek be better at. That was also up and down with his percentages. Fam didn't hit a 3-pointer tonight, but looked really good yesterday with his 3-point shot. These were some highlights from not yesterday, but the earlier game where Kolek scored the winner. He did shoot the 3-ball better that night against today. So as well as his defense, he has to make the other team pay when he's left open. Tonight, 0 of 3, 3 of 9 too. But does have that little clutch gene where he can get his head down, go left and get the bucket too. So salute Queen's Place. What's up? Great Knicks win. We are 2-2. I'm happy for these guys because they could take confidence. After losing the first 2, you bounce back and you win the next 2, right? So that's important. Tonight we won it off defense too. I gave Kolek A-. I gave Hukporti a B-. I gave Dadiet also a B-. Skap and Sev an A-. And I gave Pome Dadiet a B- with that. And we'll get ready to wrap it up. And we'll be back live once again post-game tomorrow as the New York Knicks take on the Atlanta Hawks. I'm just going to check if we've got word over any updates on terms of the Knicks potential advancing into Summer League playoffs. Maybe we have to wait for some other results to play out. I'm sure there is going to be some factors that go in terms of scoring, maybe scoring differential. We'll see. But Skap and Sev was one of the best players tonight with 17 and 10. He's an older guy, 26, but he's shown that he might be worth keeping for insurance, right? He does have experience now, being on the 2-way, even playing some situational minutes with the Knicks in the past. But Kolek is averaging over 7 assists a game in Summer League, so that's excellent. Dadiet is super young, but will get plenty of time in the G League too. But the highlight pass from Kolek, the spin move, baseline to find the 3-point shooter, was eye-opening with that one and that dime. So if we get word on the Knicks' future after tomorrow's game, I'll update it in the comment section. But this has been fun so far. 4 games in the books from New York Knicks NBA Summer League. And we've seen some really good signs from some of these rookies, and we've seen some things that they've got to work on. But that's to be expected. None of these guys are lottery picks, unfortunately, but that means that we're not worried because our squad is stacked. Guys, we are coming into this season, and this has whet my appetite for pre-season now. Of course, we're waiting on the hold-up with Precious Achua, the big man situation with Leon Rose in the lab, trying to apply the finishing touches to the squad. Who's going to back up Mitch? Is it going to be Precious? Right? Are they going to elevate Jericho to being a bigger role? Right? Does Skap and 7 Hukporti fight for minutes in camp? A lot of storylines developing as this summer league rolls by. One more game tomorrow night, more reactions from us and more overreactions as well. You guys have been the best. Appreciate you, all your thoughts and questions and comments. So far, it's been, a B for summer league overall. Like, I would have liked to see Dadiet look a little better, but he's young. Kolek's been as advertised. Hukporti to me has been as advertised. McCullough didn't get to play, and I think Rokas has been just a mixed bag, but good at times and average at times. So got to give the summer league a B so far, but it's been fun. Let's see what happens now with Precious. Right, I'm ready. I got the live stream ready to go when the next move happens. Right, we'll be live post game tomorrow night and live once the Knicks make another roster move as well. We got some guests lined up for next week to talk about our rookies in summer league as well from the draft class and what's happening around the NBA too. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Salute for your grades. Overall, it's been a good day. Knicks 2-2 now. Picked up the win, gritted it out on defense too. And we'll see you soon, everyone. Peace.